So today I'm going to wing it. There's a couple of things I do want to speak about, and usually I make like these little 10-minute videos and stuff like that for the gaming pulpit. Not going to do that really much anymore. Nobody really watches this shit anyway. But if you do watch it, leave a comment. I appreciate it. But I guess the main thing I want to talk about, and I guess I'll just go on to other episodes. I mean, other subjects at hand, is the upper echelon gamer has a upload stating that he believes that the gaming industry is about to collapse or crash. May not be in a spectacular way and back in in the 80s, but he believes it's going to crash the rate that it's going. He gives an example about a frog, putting a frog in warm water and slowly increasing the temperature. The frog wouldn't know that it's being boiled alive because when he got in there it was warm, versus putting a frog in boiling water and it immediately jumps out. So he likened the frog to us essentially as gamers, stating that this has been a gradual thing. Typically people wouldn't accept this shit about 10 years ago, but eventually we now accept these crazy DLC on a disc. We accept these, what do you call that shit? I want to say Game Pass. It's not what I want to say. But like when a game releases and day one, or deluxe editions, and we accepting the actual content of a game that is basically fragmented in DLC. So the original game, the actual game that we do get, we tend to basically have like a fraction of it, and then we pay for the DLC that's either on the disc or we have to wait for it to be released, drip fed to us. And over time, the budgets got higher and the games got shorter and the quality is dropping. It's all about the money. It really is. Honestly, it's the publishers, to be perfectly honest. They made a lot of money. And what they are not understanding is that with the money that they made, you didn't need a lot of developers to make, great quality games back in the day because the technology wasn't there. You didn't need to have a actual developer create litter for an environment or create tables and stuff like that. They didn't have the hardware to render the tables or anything of that nature. So we just basically kind of use our imagination with wallpaper, that kind of gave us the illusion that, or tricked us into believing that it was a table or it was brick or whatever the case is. Now you have to have designers creating this shit, and it's lots and lots of designers. I mean, you can have upwards of like 500 people, 600 people creating one game, when back in the day it used to be like 20. But at the same time, these games would sell like, I don't know, like 8 million, 9 million. So that money was basically spread across the 20, 30, 40 people, even 50, 60 people. Now it's be split in between, 600 people. And that's where the publishers and developers get shit fucked up. So now they got to find another revenue stream, to make sure that they can balance off the money that they or actually earn the money, I should say, that they used to get a long time ago. Make sure everybody gets the same piece of the pie. And most, consumers don't really realize that is a problem. It is a problem. So what the developers ended up doing is they created DLC and they just didn't have enough time or funds to create every single detail in these mini universes, essentially. So the games became shorter. I know the upper echelon basically stated that as the budgets got bigger, the games were supposed to get bigger, and that's not true. It's not. You know what I mean? This is why we have the DLC that we have now. This is why a lot of games are multiplayer focused. This is why there's a lot of microtransactions all over the fucking place. If your game made 8 million and you only had about 60 developers 10 years ago, And now, 10 years later, from that point, your game makes 8 million or even 6 million now. And now that has to be divided amongst 400 people. They're going to try to find any fucking way to get their money. They're going to have to find ways of getting the same amount of money because essentially everyone's taking a pay cut. And then advertisements, and then the voice actors and shit like that. That shit is hyper expensive. I don't think that the game industry is going to collapse. I think he actually said, I think the wording was AAA games ceasing to exist, or, you know, at least collapsing. So there's no real efficient way of making your money and pumping out games at the same rate without any type of microtransactions. And I'm only saying this as a business sense, to be honest with you. I'm only saying it as a business sense. This is the reason why we have all this shit. Sports games, they're easy to fucking do. I mean, you scan, you can use the same model from the previous year if you really wanted to. But games like Red Dead Redemption and Grand Theft Auto and The Witcher and all this other shit, I don't know how to fix it other than even DLC. I don't know how to fix that problem where everyone's taking a 4 times pay cut, you know what I mean? Because the games are larger and require more money to make and more time. So I really don't know how to fix it other than the game needs to sell more, or you need like little incentives or DLC and stuff like that. So the more, I mean, I guess it's going to, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess it's going to ease up next generation because the graphic fidelity now could be, you know, basically solved by middleware such as, ragdoll physics and, cloth physics and stuff like that. You don't need to create your own engine. And part of that issue is, part of that could be alleviated. That's the word I want to look for. Can be alleviated specifically because you can reuse assets and you already have your engine basically in place. And it's one of the reasons too why Bethesda, they don't want to create another fucking engine from scratch or use anyone else's because of licensing. They want the same money that they used to make, and the demand is getting too high. It's too high for the developers right now. It's entirely too high. And it's honestly a shame that it's going that way with the, I guess the only way, I hate to say it, it's a shame that it's going that way. It's going that way. I don't think that there's a collapse. I don't think it's going to be a collapse at all. I just think that I think multiplayer is going to basically, be one of those things where you need to have multiplayer in your game. And then do like these small microtransactions with, outfits and skins and shit like that, but still have a full-fledged, full-fledged game. Point in case, Horizon Zero Dawn. What I believe is going to happen with Horizon Zero Dawn, the sequel to Horizon Zero Dawn, is that they're definitely going to have multiplayer. They're most certainly going to have multiplayer in there, and then probably have like either, I wouldn't say weapons, because I think the best way to go is honestly, play dress up. As much as people don't want to admit it, playing dress up makes you money. And the same thing goes along with, like Fortnite. Fortnite, they've created an engine, and they make their money based off of fucking, it's funny because they make their money off of fucking skins, essentially. They make a shit ton of money. So I think that's the way to go to fix our particular problem. It's going to have to be some sort of multiplayer. And I know a lot of people hate that statement. I want more single player games and shit like that. And look at Grand Theft Auto, God of War. A lot of people were like, I don't want a multiplayer for God of War and shit like that. They tried to do it before and it failed. I think the reason why it failed, honestly, is that fucking isometric view, that over the screen or over the the camera in the air and shit like that. So that's what I believe really kind of fucked it up. And so I think the game was pretty balanced, but there was no customization and you were kind of stuck with this and that. I think it needs to be revisited. I mean, I know it sounds ridiculous. It's like, why you want multiplayer in these games? Well, if you want a big fucking game, you're going to have to put something and make your money. If you want the same type of money before, or be a, you know, a generous developer and fucking say, okay, well, we just going to make less. I know I'm like rambling and shit like that, but honestly, I mean, I don't think I'm rambling, but still, I think that's the biggest problem that we got going on. The developers don't have enough money to do what they used to do, and to make these full-fledged fucking games. Either that is going to take a shit ton of money, time, and even then, it's still going to be a lot of money to make. There's no escape, you know. Multiplayer or some sort of co-op is what's needed. And I'm looking at God of War like, what? I mean, okay. Maybe they can have like almost like a Devil May Cry thing and keep it completely separate from the single player. You know what I'm saying? Have, you know, Atreus and Kratos in their own storyline or whatever the case is, and then you just play as other Norse gods in some sort of fighting game, and then you can do DLC, you know, with the different characters, or buy dress up or whatever the case is. Either way, the games have to be shorter, or DLC has to be in there. That's the only way you're gonna get it right, you know, and make money as the developer. And you know, I feel like no one's taking up for the developer for that. They all say that they're lazy or they're greedy or whatever the case is, and I don't think it's really that. I don't think that they're greedy per se. They do have some greedy ass tendencies, I will say, but I mean, they're used to making a certain buck, and they're basically getting a decrease. But they need to have more quality, and it needs to be like fucking competitive. So it's like, it's one of those things. It's a catch-22, and it's a shame. But all in all, just to kind of wrap this up, you know what I mean? So I kind of threw this video together. Honestly, I got a decent amount of views for one of my other videos, and I'm grateful for those views. I really am. I am super, super grateful for it. At the same time, me being grateful for those views, I wish I had more. You know what I mean? So more people can have this word spread and see where it goes, honestly. But that's my take on it. This is my take on, you know, the gaming industry and where it's heading to. It's probably going to be fucking multiplayer centric or co-op centric, where you play dress up, My Little Barbie dress up, you know what I'm saying? Because everybody wants to customize their fucking characters or have some sort of social element. Whatever it is, it has something to do with bragging rights or whatever the case is. Like, I wouldn't mind Horizon Zero Dawn having some sort of co-op that was separate from the story. I wouldn't mind it at all. You don't need to have Aloy be in the multiplayer. You don't. You can make your own character and they do what they do. You know, you don't need to make it broke. They try to force you essentially to buy it or stuff. You don't need to do it, especially with games like Fortnite. But either way, that's all I have to say. Let me know in the comments what you think about this actual topic. Let me know what you like, dislike, and if you liked, I would appreciate that sub.